Okay. Okay, first of all, just to start this presser with a big congratulations to Ange Postecoglou and the Tottenham Spurs for winning the European League this morning. Actually, first time a Australian manager has brought home the silverware to that degree. So congratulations to the North Londoners. I know they'll be celebrating heavily tonight, and congratulations to Ange. We saw them when they were coming here a couple of years back. Huge support base. And again, I think he delivered an incredible speech last year too. So congratulations to the Spurs. Now, in relation to other football, we're really excited by the ticket sales that have already occurred for the Socceroos versus Japan on the 5th of June. This is a World Cup qualifier. It's a vital game, probably the most important soccer game we've had in this state. Over 30,000 tickets have been sold, and we're now seeing the last push to sell tickets for the game. We encourage everyone to get online, buy their tickets. We've seen extraordinary activity already from overseas. Over 4,000 tickets sold from interstate and overseas. Large contingent coming down from Japan, so very, very exciting. It's part of a very, very big winter of international football, with both the Socceroos, of course the Matildas, and now AC Milan. A very exciting time for fans of the round ball game, and we encourage everyone to get out, get their tickets for the Socceroos game, get behind the national team. This is a very, very big game. The path to the World Cup, we need the Socceroos to win. It would be a much easier way to get into the World Cup. So everyone get online, get their tickets, and be part of what will be one of those most amazing soccer games ever held in this state. Now I'll throw to Reece.
Thank you. Yes, excuse me. Very exciting, the World Cup qualifier, critical game. It's going to bring, and is already getting, thousands of people from outside of Western Australia to come to Perth, to come to Western Australia, to experience our city. We expect thousands more to come along, and this is going to be a fantastic event for Western Australia. And of course, we've never made it easier for people from Japan and elsewhere to get to Western Australia and to Perth with those direct flights from Tokyo. So a lot of people are going to be on those flights coming into Perth. They're going to see a beautiful city. They're going to have a wonderful experience. They're going to put millions of dollars into our local economy. They're going to be going to the pubs, the clubs, the restaurants, the hotels. They're going to be spending money with tourism operators. So it's going to be a big boost for Western Australia. So the great thing about these events is that they bring people to Western Australia. They expose our state at an international level. It is great for tourism. It's great for sport. It's great for locals who want to see world-class events. But it's bringing so many thousands of people from across the Nullarbor and across the oceans to Western Australia to experience Perth and Western Australia, to spend money here. Now, last financial year, these types of events injected $300 million into the West Australian economy, almost $300 million. So this is about putting Perth on the map, putting Western Australia on the map, making us a world-class destination for big events, big sporting events, major attractions that get people into Western Australia and give them the taste of this incredible state. Okay, any questions? Do you want to take questions from the sporting minister?
Police Minister, let's go first.
Okay.
The new police assault figures, how concerning are these? The Commissioner says they're alarming and that they're heading towards highs seen in mid-mornings.
It is never acceptable to lay a hand on a police officer. Police in this state put their lives on the line every single day to keep Western Australians safer. It is unacceptable. It is an outrage. It is unacceptable to assault a police officer. That's the first message. This government has done more than any other to support our police. We've invested millions of dollars in video cameras, on-body cameras, body-worn cameras. They're actually capturing more and more incidents. We've got more police than ever before on the beat. They're responding quicker than they ever have before. So they're getting to the scenes of bad things happening, and they're putting themselves in the line of fire more often. We've invested millions of dollars on body armour for police. We've introduced advanced training We have invested millions of dollars to protect our police, and we've introduced tough new laws that are dealing with serious assaults on police officers. So police know that we have their back. As Minister, I have their back, and we have done. There's not a government in the history of this state that's done more to protect police and to stand up for police.
Is this a breakdown in society?
Jeff, I think there's a few things going on. I think the fact we have more police officers than ever before, they're highly trained, we've got great technology, we're getting to the scene of the action far quicker, and they have body-worn cameras which are picking up every single thing that's happening. So all those factors are adding to the figures. But I do say to the community, we are a growing population of 3 million people. And we have issues in our community, but police are incredibly well resourced. They have modern technology to keep them safe, and no government has done more to support them.
And I think most people will acknowledge the technology and the body cameras and all that sort of stuff. But what I'm going to is like, is society heading down this path where they can so disrespect police at an ever increasing level, going punch them, going hit them, going all that sort of thing? Is that a breakdown in society?
Jeff, I believe that the vast majority of West Australians respect our police, and I don't think this is something which is a majority view in the community that police are punching bags. I don't believe that.
But is it a
there
growing
are
view in the community?
Sorry?
The numbers would indicate it's a growing view in the community.
Yes, for those, I've indicated the reasons that those numbers are increasing, but I think the vast majority of people respect our police. I recently went to my second police graduation. Young officers, incredibly well trained, with a passion to protect people. They are amazing. We are blessed with incredible young people who want to commit their lives to protecting Western Australia, and they know they're being supported. The attrition rates in the West Australian Police Force are falling. No other police force is growing like the West Australian Police Force is.
Yesterday you mentioned in Parliament that there's an operation, a sole operation for the Inglewood Operation Sayer. Is that pretty extraordinary that you've needed to conduct an operation on a single complex of, well, that's just only 24 units?
Oh look, it's not exceptional that police respond with appropriate resources where they're needed, and that was the point I was making. Police are well resourced, and when there is an issue to be addressed, they respond, and they respond quickly.
You mentioned the mounted police air wing.
Well, I think we've seen the mounted police. We've seen the resources that are being engaged to keep people safe. We want, wherever it is in Western Australia, police will respond and keep people safe, and they do that very well.
Is it frustrating though that the most police place in Western Australia is a housing complex run by your government?
Well, I don't agree with your question. I mean, police resources are spread over the state.
You said yesterday it was the most policed area in the state.
Well, yes, because at that moment we're seeing people that are involved in incidents, and it's not just at that location. There are incidents nearby. What's happening when you put a lot of police in a position, they're going to capture all sorts of issues and misdemeanors, and that's what's happening in Inglewood.
But at the heart of it,
but
the building that is operated by your government.
I make the point that the police will always respond strongly to where they're needed. They are well resourced, they are quick to respond, and they do so. And I'm working with John Carey to address those issues, and I know the Housing Minister talked about licensing arrangements in the common area. He talked about installing more closed-circuit television surveillance in the area, and we're making arrests. People are being charged. Banning orders are being issued on people to stop them going to the area.
How long has that operation been running for, and when do you anticipate it to end?
Oh, it's been a matter of weeks, I believe.
Do you expect it to continue until the problem is
Oh, look. Police will respond when there's a need, and they'll continue to respond.
What do you make of the Inglewood residents? She said yesterday that someone was arrested after going on a violent rampage and then was back in town.
Oh look, I don't know the details of that. Police do their job. Police make charges, and I'm glad that someone was arrested. Okay, sorry. You want to?
Sorry, yeah. I guess that would insinuate that they're not doing their job if they're released back within an hour.
Well, I think if someone's arrested by police, they're doing their job.
And then released within an hour. Is that acceptable?
The police are doing their job.
Why wouldn't you and Minister Carey meet with them yesterday? Was it a timing issue? Was it a...
I wasn't asked to meet with anyone yesterday. Can I say something else about the gun law debate that went on in this place yesterday? Yesterday we had the Leader of the Opposition say that he supported gun laws. Then we had a debate that went on for hour after hour, during which time the Leader of the Opposition did not say a word. The Leader of the Opposition stayed absolutely stone cold silent for the hours and hours that important debate went on. And then at the moment of truth, the moment that he was to be tested, he voted to undermine and gut safer gun laws. This is the person that in the morning said that they supported gun laws, and when they were tested in the evening, he supported to undermine and gut those gun laws. Both way Basil thinks he can sit on the fence. Both way Basil thinks he's still a commentator. The fact is, he doesn't realise he's the leader of the opposition. The leader of the Liberal Party needs to make decisions and needs to tell the community, particularly his own community, about why he voted the way he did last night. He had an opportunity to stand up for tougher gun laws that make Western Australia safer, and he did not.
Basil's position is that he supports the gun laws but not the regulations or the administration of those gun laws. What do you make of that?
Both way Basil is telling one audience he supports safer gun laws, but acting very differently in the Parliament. Because what he did yesterday to vote in favour for a disallowance motion actually undermines the laws that are in place, the law that has already been passed by this Parliament last year, the regulations that enabled the law to be implemented, including many very serious issues about taking weapons off very serious criminals, about taking weapons away from family and domestic violence offenders after their order finishes for a period of 5 years. This is critical stuff. This goes to the core of family and domestic violence and the horrors we've seen in recent years. This was a time for him to stand up to his own community and tell them he supports safer gun laws, and he did not do that.
The disallowance motion in the upper house is a different story. It could actually impact those regulations. Have you been negotiating with the Greens on their support? Are you confident you'll get their support to block that motion?
I'd call on every member of the upper house to do the right thing and support safer gun laws. Because what people need to understand is, without the regulations that support this legislation, the legislation fails to do what it's intended, fails to do what the Parliament intended it to do when it passed the legislation last year.
But we know what the Nationals and Liberals are going to do. It does come down to the Greens. So you've done negotiations with them?
Well, we've got new members of the upper house taking their position in the Parliament today. So I'd say to every single one of them, Western Australians want safer gun laws. You should too.
Did you come up with both way Basil?
I think it's obvious the way he's behaving. He's a bob each way Basil. You can call him what you like. He's a bob each way, he's two-way Basil. He says one thing, he does another. He still thinks he's a commentator. He still thinks he's an observer. He's out there looking at politics. He should understand he's in the Parliament. He has a seat here. He's the leader of the opposition, for goodness sake. He needs to make a decision and show the support of these gun laws and not go out and say, well, I support them, and then come in here and do something else. Okay. Thank you, folks.
That was very polite. I would have called two-faced Basil, but that's me.
Are you acting Premier?
Yes.
Can I ask you about public transport fines
Sure.
during on the free Sundays? Are you seeing a trend that is going down, and are you confident, as I asked yesterday, that that message is getting through to people that they need the smart rider to tag on?
Yeah, absolutely confident that the community has the message. If people have been fined and there's legitimate reasons why they didn't have a smart rider, they can apply to the PTA to have that fine waived. But you know, we're talking about respect today. There are rules when you catch public transport, and the rule is to catch the free public transport you need a smart rider. We have millions of smart riders out there in the community. We've run programs for people to access their smart riders, but it's a basic rule and it's a basic part of the respect of the system, and making sure in particular that everyone abides by the rules, and the 99.86% who abide by the rules don't feel like they've been taken advantage of.
New data released from KPMG today saying a big rise in jobs coming over the next 10 years, spurred on mostly by a diversified economy. I guess, is that showing that your government's efforts to diversify away are starting to work?
Yeah, I saw some of that commentary, really positive commentary about the diversification of the WA economy, not only a strong resources sector, but of course the opportunities that AUKUS will be providing, the significant shipbuilding precinct down at Henderson. We're looking at tourism and the continued growth in things like the hospitality sector. So across the board, we continue to work hard, evaluating the Made in WA plans to try and get more manufacturing jobs. We've done the start of that, for example, our trains and other projects where we're making those trains here in WA. So we've made the start, and it's a very exciting future for Western Australia. We've got hundreds of millions of dollars dedicated to new energy infrastructure, to strategic industrial sites, to get them ready for new projects into the future.
Are we able to keep up with that projected population growth for around hospitals, public transport and other public infrastructure?
Yeah, well, what we've seen is an extraordinary demand on our key services industry, in particular health and education. With public transport, of course, Metronet will very much cater for the surging population growth. So we're investing and will continue to invest more than ever, and you'll see that in our state budget, more than ever in our key services to keep up with the strong population growth. We are an economy that continues to drive the nation. We need to continue to support new housing and bigger and more service delivery to keep up with that population growth. But that population growth also feeds business. And I think you talk to any small business, you talk to any economic commentator, positive population growth is far better for the economy than a negative population growth. So that population growth continues to fuel consumption and more activity, which then lends itself to new job opportunities.
Queensland.
Rumblings from Queensland and New South Wales about GST distribution.
Yeah, I saw that. There's a move for a population share approach to GST. Look, that would mean WA would get billions of dollars extra per annum, because we fall well short of our population share, even after the incredible deal that we did with the federal governments over the past number of years. We still don't get our population share of GST coming to the state. And when you think about things like population growth, we're really supporting the growth in that on the GST pool. So we don't get our population share. There's moves from other states to push for population share. I'm happy to have that discussion because it means billions of dollars of extra funds to WA. It'll also very much simplify the Commonwealth Grants Commission formula, which, as we know, is a bit of a black box and I think has some very absurd outcomes. So if the other states want to push for population share, we'll be right with them, because that'll mean billions of dollars extra, and it'll make sure that the dollars that WA put in are more likely to come back.
Just on your counterpart, Sandra Brewer just said that she doesn't think having a bureaucrat lead the fight on this might not produce the best outcome for the state, criticising your appointment of Michael Barnes. Can I get your response to that?
Look, Sandra Brewer is all over the place. We've seen in the Parliament. A bit erratic to tell you the truth, but Michael Barnes is a well-respected under-treasurer former Under-Treasurer. He's been involved with dealing with Commonwealth bureaucracies for many, many years. Of course, as the Treasurer, I'll be a key person of the fight, but having a seasoned and very accomplished former Under-Treasurer leading the fight is a very big part of our future. They'll be dealing with bureaucrats over East. They'll be dealing with people that understand the process, and no one knows the GST process more than Michael Barnes, and I'm very confident with him being a key part, leading the bureaucracy, but of course we will, both the Premier and myself, will lead the charge in protecting and improving the GST deal for WA.
You're still comfortable that federal Labor will keep the deal, or make sure that WA isn't any worse off, given there's a diluted presence in the new makeup of the caucus?
It's
West Australian piece.
It's just because they picked up so many in other places. Look, we are very confident with the deal. It's a commitment that the Prime Minister has given an assurance that they'll keep the deal on a number of occasions, so as the Federal Treasurer. But we continually work to make sure that the review, which is the key sort of challenge in front of us now, the review of the Commonwealth Grants formula doesn't disadvantage WA. And as I said, if the other states are pushing for population share, we're with them. Because that means we take away this very, I've got to say, complicated and confused Commonwealth Grants Commission formula and get a straight percentage share. Means we're better off, and it's a much more simpler formula.
That's a fantasy though, isn't it? Because the point of the GST is that you help states that don't have the ability to raise revenue, like Northern Territory, smaller states, Tasmania, you help them with the kind of national wealth to help them run their services. So how can, if the Northern Territory was to get GST based on population share, it would collapse?
Yeah, I'll just say though, because of the no worse off guarantee that exists already, the federal government has to lean in and pour billions of dollars extra into the pool, in a sense, to support the formula anyway. So what we would, I suppose, argue for is a percentage share, and those states that require specific help, like those states and territories, like the Northern Territory, would get specific extra funding. Because, in a sense, the no worse off guarantee has already got, in a sense, additional funding coming in from the feds, that process is already there. So what would happen, what I think would be a fair system, is that population share in those states that need extra help, the federal government leans in on that. And I'll just say that in relation to the formula, what we've seen in the Victorian budget handed down this week is a massive boost in their GST grants, reflecting some of the economic impacts of their management of COVID in that state. And as a result, they've seen a massive boost in their GST share. The argument from the other states, that Queensland and New South Wales, is that's in a sense, I suppose, incentivising or recognising behaviour that other states didn't take, and they got extra money as a result. So we have to be real about some of these decisions. We need a better system that more reflects feeding economic growth and then supporting those economies that don't have those opportunities. But also look at South Australia. They will be big beneficiaries of AUKUS, for example, and so they're already benefiting from other federal government decisions, not just the GST.
The Queensland government's call is to excise certain road projects from the GST calculation, specifically the Bruce Highway. Do you want to see that apply to WA as well, given that some of those bigger projects like Banana Freeway and Reed Highway?
Well, look, Queensland, I think, got over $6 billion for one project, and I think they got an 80% share of the total cost of the project as opposed to 50-50. So I can understand why they want to excise that, because they got a major multi-billion-dollar grant from the feds. We didn't get that, so I can understand why they would want to excise it. And to be honest, all of their projects over East are over $10 billion, so they get multi-billion dollars for one project. We haven't got that. We've got hundreds of millions of dollars for projects, and that's sensible. But as I said, over East, I think they got over $6.2 billion for one project.
Are you
reactions to what happened in the Legislative Council last night at the end of the Coal Begins valedictory speech? Are you in support of that sort of decorum in Parliament?
Look, it's the end of his term. A shoey. It put Daniel Ricciardo on the world map. So, look, it's a one-off, and it was his last night. So good luck to him.
Not proposing one after question time today.
No, I have got new shoes on though, so maybe if I had to do it, I'll do it today.
Are you going to?
No. No. Anything else? Okay. Thanks. Thank you.
Just Philippa was wondering if you're not too busy.